Mayor Mooney, what is the status of the truck route policy right now? Are you taking a time out?
I think it's been derailed just a little bit, Ray, and I think looks like we're starting to get back right to the starting blocks all over again.
Esther Dares, what happened?
I'm not sure, Ray. The second reading of the improvement to the truck bylaw was to take place on Thursday night, which would have eliminated truck traffic from 7 to 7 on Argyle Street, 7 at night to 7 in the morning. So that would have made it just a daytime truck route, which would have been, I think, a remarkable improvement for Argyle Street residents. That didn't pass, and I honestly don't understand that, but also there was a second reading for the elimination of the upper part of Herbert Street. That one did pass, and the Herbert Street, on the one hand, we hear that the trucks don't like to use Herbert Street because it's not easy to get onto. And on the other hand, from the residents, we heard that the trucks were going down remarkably. The trucks that aren't going down have remarkably increased in number, and that they're using parts of Herbert Street that are not even approved within the truck route. So, you know, we were getting conflicting information on that point, but in any case, Herbert Street's been removed from the truck route.
Mayor Mooney, you voted against amending the truck policy to eliminate overnight trucking on Argyle Street. On reflection, was that the best decision?
I think what happened is I'll take full responsibility. I think the meeting got away from me a little bit, and the issues started to blur for myself and I think some of the other councillors. And I just had a discussion here with Esther just before you came back. And I think what basically is, and right in front of us here we have maps of the whole town and where the truck route is. And since I've been elected and 3 of the other new councillors, we have not sat down as a council and we should have with staff, I look at this all over again, and I hate to say, I know they've thought they've made some improvements and started the journey on this, but I think we might have to, just for the sake of the new councillors and myself, start from block 1 again and just get the maps out with staff, RCMP, all the funding agencies, and just say what, you know, lay all the cards on the table.
Well, Councillor Dares, wasn't that already done by council?
It was already done. I mean, the previous council sat down with staff. This came forward from the YDC through Byron Boudreau, and we sat down. Staff had a policy on truck traveling through town, but no bylaw. So we sat down with staff and looked at it. You know, we've got a very capable staff, and they suggested a route. We went through it and looked at the the upside and the downside of it, and we approved a truck route. Now, before the last election, there was you know, presentation from some Argyle Street residents that were concerned, and there was, I think, a notice of motion from a previous councillor that brought it onto the table for this council. So that's sort of the history, but we certainly have been through it. But I definitely got a sense on Thursday night that there are members around the table that really don't understand the whole thing.
But in the meantime, Argyle Street residents have to put up with 24/7 trucking on their street, do they not?
The way it is now, yes.
And how does council square what happened in terms of the policy direction with regards to Argyle Street? Nothing was done, but yet it was very quick to drop Herbert Street when there was actually a motion forward from the Committee of the Whole previously to approve an extension of the truck route on Herbert Street. So what happened there? Why was Herbert Street treated so differently than Argyle Street?
Herbert Street, actually I think they were using Stars Road as an analogy next door that the trucks could go down, and down in the Argyle Street there's no really connector route from down that neck of the woods. You're not going to use Albert, and you're not going to use 4th Street was off the books. So with Herbert Street, plus the way the motion read, we had previously, you couldn't, the trucks almost had to fly over the top part of Herbert Street to get down to the next section of town. So we basically blockaded it right from the start.
The rationale of the truck route as it's being devised is to relieve some burden of truck traffic on Stars Road. Is that what a lot of this is about, to try to free up instead of going 4 to 5 lanes wide on Stars Road? Isn't it to try to help the congestion on Stars Road?
From my perspective, Ray, certainly the Stars Road congestion has been an issue that that previous councils have dealt with, and you know, we're always thinking about things we can do to ease the congestion there, because it does get awkward and cumbersome at times at peak points. But really, I believe a truck route is all about easing and directing, easing the truck traffic on every street, but directing trucks to where you want them to go, you know, so that they're on your collector and you know, your main thoroughfares. I think that's what a truck route is about. So that truckers aren't deciding which streets they like the best. We're telling them which streets we are going to put the kind of infrastructure in to handle them. And so, you know, for me, that's what the truck route was all about, was directing trucks where we want them to go.
Mayor Mooney, what is the reaction, if any, that you're getting from truckers? Are they saying anything to you about how this has all evolved and where we are right now and what they want?
The only, right from the election time right to now, I have not heard from one trucker. I've heard from the residents of Argyle Street. I've heard from other residents on Herbert Street, some of the merchants on Main Street, but a trucker I've not heard from.
Councillor Deers, just for clarification, and because this was a previous council decision, explain to us as best you can, give us a thumbed sketch of the truck routes in the town of Yarmouth as they now exist.
There's a daytime route and a nighttime route, and the purpose of that is to keep those streets that are mostly residential quiet at nights. You don't want to impact on, I mean, when you're interrupting sleep, you're impacting on quality of life. So really, it's to get people around the perimeter of the town and through the town on the best streets possible for trucks. And so they come in on the highway, they can go Haley Road, Stars Road, they can go across Cottage Street, onto Parade Street, you know, almost all of Main Street, some of Forest Street, all of Argyle Street almost. You know, to get people from the industrial areas to the airport, to the waterfront, to the commercial areas, and then also Vancouver Street, and then Main Street right out of town, in both directions.
Are there groups of residents, people objecting to other sections that we're not hearing about?
Right, the only ones I've heard from are the Argyle Street residents. You know, anybody else on any of the other routes I haven't heard anything from. So if anybody has any opinions, please give me a call.
Well, what about Argyle Street? Can it be eliminated, Esther, do you think, in favor of a more northerly route down to the waterfront, through Stars Road or other routes to avoid that residential area?
We can get rid of the whole thing. You know, I mean, we can, but my position on Thursday night was that you can't just eliminate Argyle Street without, you know, you can't take people down Haley Road and dead end them there. You have to open the map, and you have to look at it and propose changes, but not just the elimination of streets. You know, you can't do it in isolation of reviewing the whole thing. And you know, I opposed taking Herbert Street out of the truck route. I felt it was a reasonable alternate to Stars Road, and so, you know, to give those truckers an opportunity to be able to circle without just having to go out back onto Stars Road immediately. So, you know, you can't do one street in isolation.
Let me ask whether the town has a policy in terms of what state the street must be in order for it to be designated a truck route. And some would argue, obviously, the residents of Argyle Street, and Gardner Corton is one of those people that brought you a petition. Some pretty horrible stories about pictures on the walls being knocked off through the rumbling of trucks through his neighborhood, water mains being broken. In fact, that road is not up to standard for a truck route. Is that at the core of the problem here? If it were redeveloped into a more sturdy route to take the heavier traffic, do you think you'd have the opposition?
In conversations with Mr. Horton, that's one of the issues, right? One of the other issues is he thought